As you can see from the video that's playing on the screen right now, I tried to test 51 inches and failed horribly. Just kidding, not that horrible. Today we're going to be talking about how dunk camp went, how we each feel, what our expectations were coming in, and how we performed in comparison to those expectations. And hopefully you get something out of it that can help you in your jump training. Learning from other people's experiences is what being wise is. What's the saying? Wisdom, or being stupid is not learning from your own mistakes. Being smart is learning from your mistakes. Being wise is learning from other people's mistakes.
And with great power comes great responsibility.
So having said all that, if you want to get trained by the three of us, which, by the way, if you don't know who we are, I'm Isaiah Rivera, 50.5-inch vertical. This is Austin, 1 and 2 foot jumper extraordinaire. And this is our coach, John Evans, who is also a 1 foot jumper extraordinaire.
I'm back, baby.
And if you want to get trained,
is over.
If you want to get trained by the three of us, no, I'm not talking about that kind of train. Go to THPstrength.com and use the code THP for 10% off your first month.
Damn, that was my line.
I'm sorry, I stole your shine.
All right, so let's go through a little review. Isaiah, you kind of did yours, but we'll start with me and then we'll finish with you. You can be the climax of this whole.
I love climaxing.
I knew you were going to say that. Yep. All right,
so learn each other's
Yeah, I like right before the climax.
Yeah. That's fair. So I jumped off 2 feet. I've been training since March. The last time I jumped off one was March 8th. That's the last time I jumped off 1 foot. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So that was March, April, May, June, 4 months, all of March, May, June, July, or what? March, April, May, June. 4 months, yeah, 4 months, 4 months. May, so 4 months, 120 days ago was the last time I jumped off 1 foot. So I jumped off one at dunk camp. Obviously it didn't go well because I haven't been doing it. So I was also very sore from day one. I jumped Monday and Thursday, so I had like a 3-day or 2-day split, 72-hour split of time. And I was super sore. My back was super sore. I was running really, really fast into the approach. The rim was stiff, probably a hair higher than 10 feet. And I just wasn't really able to punch anything. I didn't really feel good because I was lecturing all day on my feet and then was expected like at 5 o'clock after teaching and walking and demonstrating shit and not really making sure I took pre-workout and having a rim to warm up on. It was just like a kind of a mess for me. So it just didn't go well. It wasn't what I wanted. And I realized that, and you guys probably saw this from my Instagram post, like, fuck 2 foot. I can't get into the correct position to block appropriately.
Your post reminded me of like when someone's friend died and they post like a long, meaningful thing about it.
Wait, you posted about this?
Yeah, about his 2 foot. He's like, I'm quitting 2 foot. Like, fuck this, and it was just like, it reminded us like, dear my friend, we've been through everything.
We've been through it all. But no, I did. I tried to perfect my 2 foot technique. I had great penultimate step, great positioning. Posture was near perfect. Gorgeous. Until I get into flexion and then go to hit my block foot. I just twist, turns into this ugly, bastardized 2 foot technique that I try to work around, but it's just not, it's not working. I tend to rotate and twist. I can't get quite the lift that I need to, transferring horizontal to vertical momentum. So I'm going to just go all in on 1 foot. One thing I've learned about my 1 foot training is that I have to get a lot of volume in, which means you guys, if you are watching my YouTube channel, we are going to make a pivot towards more, I would say, scientific, evidence-based approach to training. It's going to be more volume than I've ever done since 2020, 2021, when I started my East Bay progression off one. What I know about 1 foot is I have to build up fatigue for like 4 or 5 months and then back off really hard. Usually my workout or my vertical drops like 5 inches, maybe sometimes 10 before it goes up. And I got to get after it. Got to start sprinting, got to start doing extensive tempo and really manage my hamstring, manage my back. My knees generally are okay if I don't overdo it on the jump sessions. And that's just the reality of improving off one at this point for me, is that I have a really high training age. So for me to get better off one, I have to train even more, which means 2 to 3 hours of my day are going to be dedicated to training. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
baby.
All right, Austin, you're up.
So 2 weeks prior to dunk camp, I did not think I was going because I just wasn't jumping well. My hip was bothering me a lot. But I had a session, and I was able to jump well off one. And I have only been jumping off one again for about 2 weeks leading up to dunk camp. But I was jumping high, so I had very high expectations. My flight got delayed Sunday night, and we're supposed to dunk Monday for the pro session. So I got in at 2 a.m., and we were up at 7 for camp. And I was really tired. I hadn't been working on my hands. I was jumping very high on a 10-foot rim, but I was very in my head because I was missing my dunks. So I did cut the session short. And yeah, I mean, my hip was bothering me a little bit. My knees were bothering me a little bit. But I'm happy with how I jumped afterwards. But during, I was very depressed. I ended up doing the dunk show on Thursday, which I haven't done a high adrenaline big show in years. So going into it, it was very eye-opening, seeing how, Isaiah approached the show, how Jay Clark approached the show, Kilgannon and Sutherland, just how many changes I do need to make in my training and my day-to-day, which include losing some weight, doing more hand speed work. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how I jumped at dunk camp. I'm ready to get after it. I am a little disappointed with how bad my hands got and how bad my dunk technique got because, I'm having trouble making East Bays and simple dunks that I normally...
And your jump height was pretty good,
yeah,
too.
my jump height
you were
was
jumping
decent.
high enough to hit those.
Yeah, and it just comes down to hands. So now going forward, normally I would be really depressed after the show. I went out there strong, hit my first dunk, got hype, and I'm like, I'm going to kill it. Started missing dunks, got right in my head, and kind of just subbed myself out. But yeah, going forward, I'm going to be training really hard with John and focusing on getting my 1 foot up. I have a new goal. I do want to hit 50 off 1 foot because, I'm all for it. Like I need more set goals in my life. So yeah, no, I think it was a great experience. My 2 foot was good. I just think that a big fix I have to make is definitely mindset. I get in my head way too much with dunking. I don't know if it's expectations or the fact that I used to be better, but. Yeah, it was a good time, I would say. I don't know. That pretty much sums it up, right? That was a good summary.
Yeah.
Summer.
How's your body feeling right now?
So during the dunk show, I had no pain really leading up to the dunk show. There was a little minor wear and tear. But my 4th jump, I think because I cooled down a bit, I threw a lob and my knee kind of exploded. So the next day, on Friday, my knee pain was like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Now we're down to a 3. So I'm ready to train.
As an aside to this point,
Where's my drink?
my knees actually felt totally fine on the first day with the 2 foot. Everything felt fine when I was jumping off too. I actually jumped pretty high. I just was struggling with finishing. So, yeah, don't laugh. Don't laugh. Yeah, it's the Prozac, bro. But no, I mean, honestly, I'm happy with how far I came. I think I was probably jumping around 36 inches off 2, which is fine for me, but I really need to tap into what I'm capable off 1, which is 41, 42. I can't wait to get the vert trainer out here that Andy has and be able to use that regularly. He's supposed to send one, right?
Yeah, he's going to send it.
Oh, I wanted to add one.
What else do you want to add, Austin?
No.
Go ahead.
Oh, so we did the flight. We measured one of the flight times on one of my jumps. It was a lob attempt, and I did match my all-time height. Right? It was like around that. It was it equated to 40.
So using flight time, intro rate or reliability is high, meaning when you look at individual to individual, it's low, but inside of one person's jump to that same person's jump, the reliability is high, assuming the takeoff style is the same. So Isaiah's usually 0.95 to 0.98 when he's jumping well, depending on how he lands. For me, it's like 0.79 when I'm landing and when I'm in the 41, 42 inch range because I land with both my limbs up and my knee up. When Austin jumps well, he's about 0.85 when he's just jumping off 1. When he's jumping off 1, he's about 0.85. So the other day at the show, or the dunk session, I think you were about 0.84, 0.83. If all time is 0.85, he's right there within the boundary of what he needs to. So we want to get that up a little bit and try to get all time numbers for him. But yeah, you jumped well based off all the data, which is good. I mean, I think it's tempting sometimes when you're missing trick dunks to think, oh, I suck, or blah, 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 blah.
My head was at the bottom of the net every jump. I was like, I suck, I can't jump, I suck. And then I see the videos, and I'm like, the ball's on the rim, and I'm just like...
Facts don't care about your feelings. The data did not lie.
Yeah. Zay?
Finish
us off.
Yeah, I'm ready. So the goal was to touch 12.4. Coming in, I did functional overreach. I talked about this in the podcast that we uploaded on, it was last week sometime, but basically I was feeling banged up, not super strong. I was sick coming in, so confidence was pretty low as far as jumping my all-time highest ever. And then I started testing, and the test, even the news actually, they came up there. Everybody crowded around. And my first jump, I actually thought I was going to get it. And looking back at the camera, I was actually like, there was a chance I could have got it. Peaked a little early, barely missed it by like quarter to half an inch. So
What was your flight time?
9, I actually don't remember. I think it was like 9.7 something. Yeah, 977, 978, something
That's
like that.
right there. That is right there.
So, which is crazy because it's what we've been talking about. My cluster has gone up. That's in line with testing 50.5.
You're jumping 50 every time you test.
do you think that if you weren't, do you think you were a little bit sick?
Yeah, I think if I wasn't sick, if I had tested, if I was not sick and feeling healthy, and if the adrenaline would have been there, that's the other thing is my adrenaline wasn't too high compared to when I jump at the show. I think if those three variables, it's actually likely that I might have been able to test 51.
Do you think the functional overreach worked?
I think yes and no. It technically failed because
Physiologically speaking.
assuming I would have been healthy, I think it could have worked actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just I couldn't handle it. Basically,
Can't handle it, huh? Can't handle the truth.
Which was a risk we knew coming in, and we had conversations about it. And I did say I was willing to risk my health for it. Specifically, I was feeling pain at the tibial tuberosity. It's the original knee pain I came to John with, and I haven't been feeling it since 2021. I think was the last time. It's
What's
tendinopathy.
tibial tuberosity? Yeah, it is. But it's at this bone right here. That's where you usually have it.
Yeah,
This little bump.
it's like
I don't
Osgood
have a big bump
Slaughters. It's
there.
the really common.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
Way.
cut you off. I just felt like.
Let's compare our bumps real quick, by the way. Let's
All
lift
right.
up our legs. I don't have any bump.
I think side angle.
So he's got a big old bump. I don't have like any bump here. Austin, where's yours?
I have 2 bumps.
You got 2. He's a die bump.
Wait, I can't. I have one here.
Bimodal.
And then I have another one.
He's a bimodal bump. Wow, you got a nice bump. I don't have a bump.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why I
so-
suck
I
as
never
an
had one
athlete.
until Isaiah was like, "You don't have a bump," and then all of a sudden I woke up like, "Ah!" It was like growing out of me like horns. It's like, what is happening?
Yeah, I haven't felt pain there since literally like 3 years ago, and it slowly started coming back. I've actually felt it a tiny bit at times, but it's always been like manageable. But this time I was jumping like 2 to 3 times a week, jumped through the pain. When I was testing, this was the fatal error because I technically could have made it out of this healthy. There's 2 things. I added deep back squats, which I shouldn't have. I was afraid of detraining. And
To be
getting
fair,
weaker.
I told him
John told me
all
to
you
feel
need to
good
do
lift.
is feel good lift, maintain your health, you'll be good. You're gonna have like a week and a half to do it. Isaiah said,
I didn't
fuck
trust the
that.
process.
I'm gonna deep squat.
Yeah, I didn't trust the process, so I deep squatted in addition to all that jumping, which is like freaking if you want to induce knee pain, up the intensity and specificity everywhere, which I did. And then second mistake is while I was jumping, I was feeling pain. I was pissed off because I wasn't hitting the bell. Started jumping lower, and I jumped through the pain in anger. I got emotional.
There's a video of this, and I'm mic'd up, and at one point, people were like, "Is he gonna get it?" And I'm like, "No," but he's gonna jump until he fucking throws up, like hurts himself, or he passes out. That's what's gonna happen, and
Yeah.
inevitably,
Hurt myself.
he hurt
And he
himself.
passed out.
Option 2.
He didn't pass out. He didn't pass
So-
out, but he was out of breath.
Yeah. So the next morning, mind you, deep body weight squat for the past 3 years, my knees 1 out of 10, maybe 2 out of 10. I woke up the next morning, it was a 9 out of 10. Then the day after that, it was like a 7 out of 10 or something like that. And then the day I did the show, it was like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. I did a pain guided warm up, and I jumped pain free at the show actually. Which, by the way, if you want to learn how to do a pain guided warm up, I explain it in the school guides at THP. But
That's changed my life.
I've literally had guys. I've done it with Austin. John did it with Dom. You can be at an 8 out of 10 pain, and if you warm up the right way, it takes like an hour.
It takes forever.
But if you warm up the right way, you can still dunk. But yeah, I did the pain guided warm up, made it through the show without pain, jumped really high at the show. But now I'm in rehab mode, and I have a contest in 4 weeks, basically 4 weeks from today. So yeah,
Wait, dunk camp is in 4 weeks.
that's in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Wait, so will I be able to peak kind of again for Wisconsin with this training that we're doing that we don't know what it is yet?
It will not be a true, I would not call it a peak. I would call it a micro taper. We did a full taper leading into dunk camp. This is like a micro taper. So it'll be loading as much as we can fatigue wise for 3-ish weeks, 3 to 4 weeks for Austin and I. Isaiah 3. Really, Isaiah probably won't be able to get much fatigue built up. It's really just functioning in windows of opportunity for him.
He had a 47.
You're not going to be at a 47. We're gonna touch. Well, I mean, you have to think. It's not. It's more like maintenance. We're not probably going to get enough volume in to really see considerable amounts of adaptation, like to new levels. But what we might be able to see is maintaining strength or getting close to where his best is and maintaining his power output.
I'm fine with close to where my best is. Like,
Yeah. So we can a lot. I mean, me specifically, I'm detrained from 1 foot, so I will be able to again be retraining back very quickly, because once you detrain, you retrain very quickly if you've already had that capacity. But once you're trying to reach a new level, it's very difficult. So for me to hit a 42 or 43 off one, that's like a 6-month process. For Isaiah, if he wants to hit 52 or 51, that's another 6-month process. Now, because his cluster has come up, it's possible he could still jump 51, because maybe he was in 51.5 form or 52 form in 2-3 weeks ago, maybe even 4 weeks ago, and detrained a little bit, or maybe the overreach didn't work, whatever else. He could retrain back and have a good day, have the right environment, and jump 51.5 or 52. Assuming there was a testing environment for that. Same thing with Austin, right? If the environment's right and the situation's right, and they have a decent amount of fatigue built up, and we unload correctly, and we know the drivers for performance and they're healthy, it could happen. But when you're looking at like what we do, I'm giving you the best possible chance of hitting your new vertical. So it's not like everything that we did in the past 6 months didn't work. We got a better organism. We have a better product now out of these two guys. The hay is already in the barn. Those adaptations have set in. We had to train really hard to have that happen. Maybe the realization of that happens, like we've seen with Isaiah, a year or two down the line, right? It's just one step in the right direction. Ideally, you want to see it at the end of the taper, but
we've said this before. It's like put the hay in the barn, and then hopefully the stars align.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when those days happen. It's like there happens to be a way to test on a day that feels really freaking good.
Bouncy and good, and you sleep well, you're not sick, etc., and then you're able to do that. And that's really what it is when you're looking at world-class performances. Like Usain Bolt is training to peak at the Olympics and run 9:58 when he does it, but maybe there's a headwind. Maybe the track isn't ideal. If there's a headwind, that alone is probably going to make it so he doesn't break the world record, right? Or maybe he doesn't have someone fast enough next to him, or maybe he feels a tiny littlest thing in his hamstring, and something like that can throw off him breaking the world record.
I was talking to Kilgannon about this because we were talking about like when he said he wanted to test as well, and then we should do it together, and then we talked about like the competitive aspect of it. Because the first time I tested, we were going back and forth, and then at the show, he went. I missed 12, then he touched 12, and then I got competitive, and then that's when I was able to touch 12.
That was definitely leaning, by the way.
Yeah,
that was probably 2 inches leaning when I measured it. When it was at 12.6,
so
it was at 12.4.
My flight time was.
Is that my car?
Yeah.
Damn. All right.
My flight time was 0.95.
On that?
Yeah. So it was probably 12 at the most 12.1.
Yeah. So I know because I measured it, and that one was leaning when it was at 12.6. But like I had to put it at 12.6 to get the bell at 12.4. So it leaned about 2 inches.
Yeah.
So if it was set at 12.2, then the bell was realistically at 12. Right?
Yeah.
So you touched 12 handedly, which makes sense, right? Jordan didn't touch 12. He's touched 11.10.
Jordan touched 12, I think, didn't he?
No, he missed 12.2.
That's what we're saying.
When the vert trainer
he
is
touched
at
12 when it was actually 11.10. He missed 12.2 when it was actually at 12.
Yeah, exactly. So what did you call it? A false positive? Something like that? Yeah, false positive. Which is fine.
Which he knows too.
Yeah.
Like
I was gonna ask, did he admit that?
He's
Yeah.
never been the type to like.
I was curious because right after he did it, he goes, "That was 50," and I was like, "No, no way." And I didn't want to be an asshole in the moment, but I knew that it was leaning because I measured it. I had to set it up for you on camera for Guinness and get everything dialed in on that road trainer. So I knew how much it was leaning, which is, again, it's not that big of a deal for you guys in that moment. That wasn't the goal. It was to put on a show. But to get proper testing, you got to make sure that your instruments are calibrated, and they weren't.
Which, by the way, from now on at dunk camp, I don't want to jump on the first day, and I'm always going to test
During the show?
At the show, yeah. Just have it pre-measured and set at whatever. Just go try to blast the jump when if I feel good.
I mean, honestly, that's the way to do it. But anything else you guys want to add?
I think lessons. Let's real quick speed run lessons we learned.
All right. One.
I'm shutting my car off.
Get it. Stop.
I have the keys.
Oh shit!
That should be unlocked.
All right, so first thing is mindset. Sutherland was talking to me about this. He was like, you jump high as hell, but you're not confident. Every dunk you approach looks like you're like, oh shit, I have to dunk right now, rather than, oh yeah, I get to dunk right now. The other thing is I was so focused on getting my vertical back, which I almost did, that I neglected hand speed, working on tricks, and just dunking itself as a whole. And that was a big lesson in itself. I thought, because of all the previous work I put in for my hand speed and the dunk technique, that it would just come back with my vertical. And that was a big lesson I learned this week as well.
My lesson, I've learned this multiple times. I don't think there was any lessons as far as the training. I think everything went according to plan. We had a hypothesis. We tested it. It's likely that it worked. We knew it was going to leave me banged up. But the one lesson that I keep learning over and over again is listen to your body. Like, if something is hurting, there is a reason. You should probably cut it, decrease intensity. Second lesson is trust the process. Yeah. I think a lot, like when I was being scared about detraining and stuff like that, and it's like logically, I know what John's telling me is making sense. I know it makes sense, but I let emotions take over, and yeah. But it always comes down to trust the process. We tell our athletes all the time. It's just like, listen to us.
It's easier said than done, though. I mean,
it's a completely different story to tell somebody to be smart versus being smart, which is the wisdom, smart, stupid thing I explained at the beginning. But yeah, I think that's it for me.
As a coach, I was really happy with how we showed out at camp in terms of as a whole. Like, THP crushed. Eric dunked great. Ambrose dunked for the first time at 33, 5'9". Cameron Lambert dunked for the first time, kind of out of nowhere. He's been dealing with
Hoop and Nate, 10-1.
Issues. Hoop and Nate touched 10-1, which was great. I've been coaching him since he was barely touching 9. Hiram Fexer touched 48.5 with his vertical. Windmill elbowed for the first time on 10 feet. 5'9", yeah. Hiram Perry tested 44. Mason, easy 40-inch vertical. Kind of blew his load day one, but testing day in the contest, he didn't do as well as he wanted, but it was a learning experience for him, but he dunked fairly well. Travis was flying. I think he tested an official 44, maybe 42, 43, depending on if the vertex was leaning. Went crazy.
And by the way,
no, I was talking about Travis Slade.
Oh,
by the way,
Travis Reynolds went off in the show as well.
If you don't know any of these names or anything like that, I think a good place to start is follow at the Dunk Camp on Instagram. Yeah. And if you are in any way if you like jumping and dunking, I think you should go check it out.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah. So yeah, I think in general, really happy with that. Learning experience with Isaiah. I will never do a functional overreach with jumping again. With Austin, he either needs to train with myself or Isaiah and just do what we do and compete with us. He seems to do the best.
I did jump high off with functional overreach, though. But I think it was just like...
Regardless, he just needs to train with us. That's the reality. Yeah. He just needs to do what we do, and it works. The less you can get in your head about things, the better. Yeah. That's what I've learned. Yeah. And just consistently trust, show up, train your ass off, and you're going to get better. You respond very similar to Isaiah. I've learned that over the years, and especially the last 6 to 8 months.
Your hip hurts, jump off too.
Yeah. And minimize jumping off one. Don't fucking overdo your. Don't overdo 1 foot to the point his hip gives out. That's a big thing with him. With myself, I miss 1 foot. I need to work on lobs. My lobs are horrendous, and if I get those on and timed up well, I'm gonna jump really high. I do want to potentially off dribble. I just need to make sure my knee's good. But weirdly, this is super
like a TV
niche.
show season's ending.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Next comp season.
Yeah, it is. Super niche thing, but I've learned taking 2 dribbles with like a little jab step sets me up off one off the dribble, which is good because I get more momentum.
Imagine you do like a full on.
Yeah.
He does a sham job.
No, I mean, I can just 2 dribbles. It's like the first dribble is light, and then I accelerate hard on that second one, and it turns into a 5-step instead of a gallop in 3-step, which is good for me. So yeah, those are all things I've learned. I definitely need to add speed to my approach, watching Dallin a lot and seeing to dunk on 10. I need to dunk hard on 10. I need to get more speed into my approach.
I also second that. I also realize I start super close to the hoop. I start around the 3-point line, and every other 1-footer starting volleyball.
I mean, I generally start further back, and then the other thing is I just need to train harder. That's the reality. I just need to get after it.
Always train harder. We're gonna train.
More train, get better, improve.
We're going back to the the OG THP.
OG fucking jumping twice a week.
ISOs, crazy circuits stuff.
Our knee won't survive. All right, that's the video, guys. If you want to get after it like us and you enjoy the process, go to THPstrength.com. Use discount code. Was it discount code?
THP.
THP for 10% off
If you're weary.
your first month. And we will see you guys tomorrow. See you guys.